We're doing our mailbag video for today, this Saturday. With that said, I'm recording the video on Thursday afternoon. Just an FYI, if one of these questions answered already by the time you watch it, we'll see. I don't think any of it is going to be. So in today's video, I took your guys' questions from the week, made a video out it, mailbag video. Let's get this thing rolling. Folks, make sure you go ahead and subscribe to the channel. It's the best way to get the latest Lions news and rumors for you folks as we're breaking it all down for you. It's real easy. You hit that good old sub button, and that's taken care of for you. So we're going to go ahead and do the mailbag segment again. If you don't know that I do this, it is questions throughout the week. Put it in the comment section, in the live streams, and I'll make a video about it. First question here is, what do you think about Brock Wright coming back to the Detroit Lions? I like that Brock Wright is coming back to the Lions right now. Now, the price tag for this is a little bit off. We're talking 3 years, $4 million a year, $12 million to Brock Wright for a number 2/3 tight end. I think that's a little bit pricey, but given that he understands the offense, he's an excellent blocker. He does exactly what Dan Campbell says in this offense need him to do. It's good to have him back. We didn't want to lose Brock Wright. The price, it's a little bit high. But at the end of the day, you're keeping the same player that's been on your team for a couple years that it's produced at a decent level for you. So that's not bad, and the offense will continue to roll. And you always love protection and blocking, and that's huge. That's what Brock Wright does. He is a blocker, and he is really good at it. And the Lions value that part of his game. They truly do. And if a day happens where Laporta cannot play in a game, I think a lot of us feel like Brock Wright could get some plays in. He's not obviously as good as Sam Laporta. It's not even close, but he'd do all right. He'd do all right. So I'm fine with Brock Wright coming back, and I'm happy he's a Detroit Lion. Price a little bit off, though. But let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Are you fine with Brock Wright coming back? Y for yes and N for no. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Let's continue on here with the next question. Should the Lions sign more secondary help? Yes and no. And I'm going to tell you why yes and no. Yes here, because the Lions are going to get help in the draft. And if they don't in the draft, then they can sign some players for the secondary help. I think right now it is all about the draft. And they may sign players for backup role like they did Vildor the other day, but we're not talking about a starter. That's just more depth. And the Lions need to build this room, I believe, in the draft and start to get some players in the draft. So I think that's where the line's going to go. But if they don't get the player whom they like, or for whatever reason they struck out, I do believe the Lions would reach out to another cornerback in free agency to see if they would sign with this football team if they strike out in the draft. But the draft is the number one priority for this team and this organization and Brad Holmes. And I know a lot of people get really upset about free agency, but it's more about the draft for these guys, and so that's where they're going to make their money, getting a corner. And right now there's corners available that you can get, but are they a number one? No, I think it's going to be more of in the draft. I think you roll with what we got: Carlton Davis, Amik Robertson, Emmanuel Mosley, whoever you draft. You got Vildor as a backup there, and that's fine. And if they don't get somebody in the draft, they can go ahead and pick a guy up in free agency to help this out. I know a lot of people like Stephen Gilmore. There's other cornerbacks for sure. And if you're talking about safety, yeah, the Detroit Lions do need to get another safety. I think they could wait till after the draft. Again, there's going to be some safeties probably waiting to sign and to see what teams do in the draft. So if the Lions want to get better, they can do that in a free agent. But I would suggest it's after the NFL draft. Do you enjoy being stressed out buying tickets for sports? Well, if you do, this is definitely not for you. But if you're like me and like to save money and make a life a little bit easier, you need to get GameTime. With killer deals, last-minute tickets, lowest prices guaranteed, you can stop stressing and start getting hyped for the fun that you're going to have. It's easy to find and buy tickets for every kind of event in your area, whether that's sporting events, concerts, comedy shows, or whatever. With their lowest prices guaranteed, it's the GameTime guaranteed, which means you're always going to get the best prices. If you find tickets in the same section or less, GameTime will credit you 110% of the difference. You can get exclusive flash deals on tickets for football, baseball, basketball, concerts, and more. In the middle screenshot, by the way, I think it's a fantastic feature of this app. It shows you where your seat is, and if you move your phone left to right, you can see the surrounding area like a 3D live photo. So download GameTime app, plug in Chat Sports, get $20 off your very first purchase. Again, go to the redeem code section, plug in Chat Sports, get $20 off your first purchase. Terms do apply. Got to create an account and all that lovely stuff to get $20 off your very first purchase. The information is going to be in the description and comment section of this video. If you're buying Lions tickets this year or any tickets for any event, make sure you're using GameTime. Download GameTime today. Last-minute tickets, lowest prices guaranteed. Continue on here. Next question. Should the Lions have traded for Diggs? And no, the Lions shouldn't have traded for Diggs. And there's multiple reasons why. First off, he's not a Dan Campbell fit, in my opinion. He's more a player who loves his stats and a little bit more selfish, and he's a vocal guy about getting balls thrown to him. That's not a Dan Campbell type guy. He's not a guy that's going to be welcome on this roster when you have a lot of players in this team that are team-oriented. Secondly, he wants a lot of receptions, and he went to the Houston Texans, and they're going to give him the receptions there. He wasn't going to get that here. Sam Laporta, St. Brown, Jahmyr Gibbs, Jamison Williams, all these guys are going to get targets, and that would reduce it for Stefon Diggs. It's not going to work. And then lastly, and most importantly, the money is not going to work. He's going to cost a lot of money for the Detroit Lions. They don't have that in cap, and they got to think about players whom they got to re-sign to long-term deals this up-and-coming, seasons, right? You got St. Brown, Penei Sewell, Aiden Hutchinson. You got players whom you got to sign, and Diggs is older, and he want to be the number one here. It's going to be St. Brown. That's the future of this team. That's the big signing, re-signing we should be seeing here very soon. Would you rather pay St. Brown or Diggs? I think everybody's going to go with St. Brown. Would he have made this Lions offense better? Yeah, he would have. But the offense can only go so high at this point. So if the Lions were to make a move like they already did with Davis, that's the way to go, right? Trading for defensive players or getting defensive players in free agency and getting players like that to help this defense out. So no, I do not believe they should have done that. But let me know in the comment section. Would you have traded for Stefon Diggs? Why for yes and for no? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Next question here. Should the Lions sign wide receiver Tyler Boyd? And it's been rumored that the Lions were looking at Tyler Boyd as he is a free agent wide receiver from the Cincinnati Bengals. Bigger wide receiver, 6'2", over 600, almost 700 yards. I think he had 11 touchdowns. He had quite a bit of touchdowns there. He would be the perfect Josh Reynolds fit, correct? He is the prototype Josh Reynolds. Yes and no for this question. We're going to start with no here, and the reason why I say no is because I'm waiting for the NFL draft. I think that the Lions have an opportunity, if they want to upgrade that wide receiver position, do it in the NFL draft. You have look, you don't really have that many needs. You can go BPA. There's a lot of wide receivers in this year's draft. And you could get somebody that can be on this team for a long time, and it's not like we need veterans right now. You got St. Brown, he's a veteran. Jamison Williams, a veteran. Khalif Raymond, veteran. Donovan Peoples-Jones, veteran. They got veterans here, so why not get a wide receiver whom you can develop? I do believe that Josh Reynolds was plan A. It didn't work. Now, if the Lions don't get a wide receiver in the draft, then I'm going to say yes to Tyler Boyd after the draft. Then I think it would be a big deal for the Lions to get him because it is a hole that Josh would have left, and he could fill that void. He definitely could. But let's try the draft first, just like most of these questions. Let's get the draft, see what they can do right there. Should the Lions sign Xavien Howard? I feel like I'm kind of answering the same question over here. Again, I'll start with yes. First, we lost Cam Sutton, and he is a veteran. That would help out. I think he's probably better than Cam Sutton, even though Howard did get burned a little bit this past season for sure. But again, we got to wait for the draft, folks. Everybody loves free agency, and I see all the questions, and I see it, all the free agency reactions, people getting upset, and everything's about free agency. We got to do the draft, and there's a lot of corners in this draft. Kool-Aid McKinstry may be there at 29. If he's sitting there at 29, I'm taking Kool-Aid over assigning Xavien Howard. We need to get a guy that's going to be the staple for this team for many years. You're not going to really get that in free agency right now, but you're going to get that in the draft. Let's focus on the draft with a lot of these players. I always say, if you mess up in the draft and you don't get a corner you like, you can bring Howard in, but let's focus on the draft. Next question. I don't want to repeat myself. Do you agree with the criticism of Brad Holmes? Oh, well, it depends on the criticism here. So we're gonna there's two camps, or there's three camps about the Brad Holmes camp. There's one where nothing Brad Holmes can do is bad. Like they're the extreme people that just like there's nothing that he does is bad. There's people out there, fans out there that is very angry that he doesn't get all the free agent players that they covet. There's the crew out there that thinks that Brad Holmes underwhelming. He's good in the draft, but terrible in free agency. Do I agree about the criticism? First off, no player or personnel in the NFL cannot have criticism. Everybody can be criticized. I think that's the way that it works, right? We all get criticized. We criticize ourselves and try to make better. I think you can criticize Brad Holmes. But if you're in the camp of thinking that, Brad Holmes didn't get my guy, he's trash, he's garbage, he's butt cheeks, you're off a cliff. He's the best general manager this team's ever had. He is fantastic at his job. He knows how to draft. He does get selected free agents. I see a lot of overreactions to free agency, like people really melting down because they didn't get. Look, I didn't get who I wanted. I didn't melt down. But anyone get criticism. So I can criticize. Like I think the Marcus Davenport signing was a little bit below average. I put it as like a C minus, C grade. Okay, but I love what they did with Kevin Zeitler and DJ Reader. I like the trade, and I like what they did. But there's other things moved, like you had Will Harris on this team for some time. But look, if he gets criticized for me, it is about just one thing, and make no mistake about it. This guy is amazing. He is awesome. And in Brad Holmes, I trust 100%. Like when it comes to draft, whoever he drafts, I trust. I'm not even going to think about that. Free agency is a little bit different, like on said players, but when it comes to the draft, he knows what he's doing. He's a great GM. Does he serve the criticism from the insane fans? Absolutely not. Like if you're just ripping on him, just ridiculous. Or if you're going overboard because we didn't sign a certain guy, look, dude, let's just be equal here. But no, I don't think he deserves insane criticism. I don't. Let's get this thing going here. Rank the Lions in the National Football League. That's a great question. Oof. Look, you got the Ravens. I think they're really good. I think the Lions are really good. The 49ers are really good. Texans are really good. I think Atlanta took a step forward. I think the Packers are good. Those are some really good teams. I think the Detroit Lions could be sitting at top 3. You can make a case for 1, 2, and 3. 1, if you feel like that the Detroit Lions should have won that 49ers game, right? And I actually think they're the best. Lions are the best team in the NFC. But I probably put 1, 2, or 3 because I think Ravens. The problem with the Ravens is Lamar Jackson's got to win playoff games. He's got to do that, but their team is stacked. They got a hell of a roster, and so they're still going to be really good. So between 1, 2, or 3, that's where I have the Detroit Lions. Where do you guys have the Lions ranked? Let me know in the comments below. I'm curious to see what you guys think. With that said, folks, adios.